Hello everybody and welcome back to another Minecraft video. Today I'm going to be showing you the test world in which I created the What is Love song, which was for a prank on Hermitcraft that I did on Keralis. So if you haven't already seen that, there'll be a link in the description box and all of that if you'd like to check that out first. But what I'm going to be doing in this video is just casually talking about the whole process of creating this. And first of all, I'll start off by saying where the idea came from. Obviously the song itself, as I said in the prank video, Keralis likes that song and I really like it as well. And so at some point it just popped into my head that you could possibly make that in Minecraft. Well, I say possibly, I knew you could because we have note blocks. And if you don't know a lot about music, notes are basically a frequency, and that frequency will create a pitch. And so we hear things at different pitches, and we have a kind of universal language where we choose different pitches to translate those notes. So all of the notes on a scale, which is 12 in total, there are 7 normal notes and then 5 what you call sharps or flats. They basically transcend a lot of modern music that you hear. So it means that things are universally translatable from one instrument to another. So you can have a bass guitar or a regular guitar, you can have a keyboard or a violin, and they most of the time always work within this structure. So it means that if you play something on a violin, you could play it on a guitar, it can chop between, and because we have these note blocks in the game, it means that we can take all of those notes and instruments and actually play them here with the note blocks. So because of that, it means you can actually just take any song that exists and pretty much recreate it in Minecraft. Now what I did here is I started off by finding a MIDI file. Now MIDI is it's like a language for the computer to understand music, and it sends it basic instructions for recreating instruments and sounds. And so MIDI is like a language to tell your computer to make noise, and there are pretty much like loads of popular songs out there have been converted into MIDI, so you can actually download these. They're usually free on websites, and with that I was able to find out all of the notes and the timing signatures of the song What is Love. So it starts off over here. We have the first 3 notes, which is the guy singing, and then it sort of goes into the tune. Now when I press this button here, I'm not sure what exactly it is we're going to hear. I think it's just the intro. Do 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 do. There you go. So that's the beginning bit, and then it looped. Oh, sorry, that's this bit over here on a timer. Yeah, I didn't pay attention to that, did I? Let's just press that again. Yeah, so that second part right there, it loops, and this is me. What I had to do once I'd figured out the song and how you could make it in Minecraft was cut down all the different bits, the bits that repeat and the bits that loop over and over again, so we could save space. And I had to come up with different redstone circuits to control that. So this one is just a basic time delay where it then plays that part again, which is exactly how it goes in the song. So over here we have some of the basic stuff that I came up with straight away. Except it's not wired up properly because I've been testing and experimenting and all sorts. So you can hear that's like the main electro melody in the background. Now one of the reasons everything in this world is built with dirt is just because supposedly you need to put dirt underneath this to get the basic piano sound. If I break that, I'm pretty sure it still plays. Yeah, and I didn't realise that at first. You can actually just leave nothing under the note block or have dirt and you get the same piano sound. There we go, let's stop that. So I just figured out some of the basic melodies one by one. I've got the bass line over here, and I just want to turn up my own speakers a little bit there. So the timing is a little bit different on this. This is one of the things you had to figure out, and I could have done the song so it would be a fair bit slower than the one or a lot faster, because you're limited to the speed of the repeater. So that kind of changed it all a little bit. It just means everything's the same, but it's faster than the actual song. So there's a bit of timing on here. You can hear the bass line has some notes that are closer and further apart, so that took a little bit of time to figure out, as this one was very simple because it's the same space between each note. So I just started off like this, figuring out bits one bit after the other. And this is the thing that I did straight away. I'd done this a couple of weeks ago, and then I kind of felt a little demotivated and I had to kind of push myself into doing the rest of this. So this bit over here I don't think is, this isn't even hooked up. So this is the drum line. When the drum line comes in, there's a slow hi-hat, and then it increases its speed by 4, I think. Yeah, that's right, except I decided to do it half of that because this is a very obnoxious sounding hi-hat. It doesn't really sound that great, does it? And so I decided to half the amount of notes on this bit here. So if you go and listen to the song, you'll actually notice that that is a lot faster, and I think there's actually a couple of different hi-hats being played at once as well. But after it plays it at a faster speed, it then goes into playing a loop. So that drum beat is pretty much the same for the rest of, well, not the whole song, but for the next part of the song. And what I did is after I'd done the intro, I was just going to have it loop and continuously play the main theme of the song. So after I got these basics done, I was kind of demotivated because when you work on big Redstone projects like this, you've got to look at the big picture and sort of see, okay, so I need this bit here to repeat, but that one there's got to drop out and then come back in later. And I was getting stuck on those parts, you know, how could I use Redstone to control this? But when I came back to it and really pushed myself to think and come up with things, I came up with a cool couple of little inventions. I say inventions, I'm pretty sure someone else would have come up with this stuff before, but I came up with a compact little T flip-flop, which is going to be useful. And I might get some of these wrong at first because it's been a while since I looked at all of this, but the base is easy to understand. We have a T flip-flop here that overrides our output, and when a signal comes into it, it activates that T flip-flop, which means that an item will travel from this side back into that one. Now the way that that works is the torch turns off and then the repeater turns on, so you get a very short moment where this is unpowered, so the item will move from one side to the other. So then this comparator isn't overriding our output here, and it means that when the signal makes its way all the way through and comes back round to here, when this torch turns off, it's going to then send the signal back round onto this side until you give it another signal, which is what we have, the reset button at the top. You remember there's a stop and a start, that will come back in here and it will change this, and it means when the signal comes around to this side, it can no longer override it. So there's lots of wiring here that's sort of been disconnected and reconnected as I've been testing things. If I press this, we're now going to have the bass on a loop, and until another signal comes around here and turns this off, then it's going to continuously loop. So that is the one thing that I came up with to control this. That works really well for the bass because as soon as it comes in, it stays that way pretty much for the whole song. Whereas some of these other things, they work differently. Now this is the organ-like sound that plays chords. I had to reduce the amount of notes in the chords, so they do sound slightly different. The chords are all 3 notes and the final chord is 4, and on this I've done 2 for each of them. So let's see, how do we activate this? You can see here it branches off the hi-hat signal, so why don't I just activate that, and then this is where the organ-like sound comes in. I say organ, that's just what it was on MIDI. It might be something different in the song, I'd have to think about that. So this is going to play twice, and then it's going to stop. I love that. Okay, so let's stop that. And then we need to stop this one over here as well. It's the same thing as the bass on these ones, which is really simple. And this melody right here, what I had to do is actually make it twice. Now there could have been a way that I could have got it to play once in the beginning, cut out and play again, but I didn't really figure that one out. So we actually have 2 sets of that melody. That's the only thing that's really repeated on this. And we could have possibly done something like that with these hi-hats over here as well, you know, just had a 1 or 2 of these on a loop and then some sort of hopper counting system, but I didn't really want to go too into it. I just kind of like laying it out like this. So what happens here is the signal comes in, it goes around once and then it branches off at the end here, and that's for timing. But when the signal comes through like this, it activates the T flip-flop, so then this turns off, which means this thing gets powered and it stays powered, which is very important because then it goes all the way around again, and when it gets to the end here it keeps this powered, so it turns that off and then everything unpowers and nothing happens when it comes back here, because this is like a monostable circuit. I do believe that would be the correct term for that. So that means that this thing plays twice and then it stops, it doesn't play anymore, which is exactly what we want. So over here we have the intro again, we have the 3 notes, then it activates the main melody, which we have over at that end there. We heard that playing a minute ago, that's the one that we used twice, and then it plays this twice, which is the vocal lead, which is also what this 3 notes here are. So that's our vocal lead, which is doubled up, by the way. They're not chords, it's just 2 notes, so it's louder and it stands above everything else. and it's activating everything but the base because I cut the wire there. So this bit here is all functional. I didn't realise that. Excellent. I love it. It's great. It was really good fun to work on this as well. Right, so let's stop that and the one over here. So that is actually pretty much everything right there. I think I've explained everything. The next bit is just me compacting it. So I started looking at these circuits, seeing where I could change things, and around here is where things get messy. This is where I copied everything that I built there, started to change and compact things, and then using MC-Edit I put them on top of each other layer by layer. So I guess if any of you are interested in this, maybe you'd have a look at this yourself and compact it down, because as I said, there's some things that could definitely be compacted using some more advanced redstone. You know, I've just used T flip-flops and things like that, but you can make some sort of timing sequence so that you only need one note block for the hi-hat and you don't have to use all of them like this. There is also a load of messy wire running around the place that I'm sure could be a lot tidier, but you know, I just made it doable so I could go into survival and build it. And that was actually one of the driving motivations for doing this. I don't find creative mode quite as rewarding as survival, which may sound strange because you get to the end product quicker. But it's going on the server and actually building this in survival that was the real challenge, you know, getting all of the materials. I just really loved that. I say it was the real challenge, this was a big challenge as well, but that's the kind of thing that I like, you know, building stuff in survival. So I think if I do more creative projects like this in the future, anything big and ambitious, I think survival is really going to motivate me to do that, so I need to keep on top of things on Hermitcraft. But anyway, getting back to this, this is the final bit really. In fact, no, that's... yeah, ignore me. This is the final bit of me making it. This is me chopping it down layer by layer. So this is where I build all of this bit here first on Hermitcraft, and then once I'd done all of that, I'd move on to the second layer, and then the third. And that might look quite complex, but I was taking lots of pictures of these, and I'd be building on one screen and on the other I'd have a picture, so I could always just refer to the picture, you know, go to the same point of view and look at what you've built and notice the blocks that you've missed, etc, etc. So yeah, this is all the layer by layer bit, and then that's the final product right there. And I don't think there's actually anything else more for me to say, so I'm going to play the song one more time and listen to it and think about it, and I might have something else I need to say about this, but I think I've covered just about everything there. So I thought about it, and I'm pretty sure I covered everything there is to cover with this, and my test world that I have right here, you can see I made the "What is Love" text as well. I just wanted to try that out before I made it on the server. But the last thing I think I want to say for this is, if you like Redstone but you're not good at it, or you don't think you are, or you like music and you don't think that you're good at it, then they're both quite similar in the way that to be good at it you have to really try and learn, and you have to fail to learn as well. You know, you have to go in, try and build something with Redstone, fail, but you have to learn from it as well. And the same thing goes for learning music. I started off by playing a guitar, and I was really bad at it, but I, you know, stuck at it, and I kept learning and learning things over time, and it meant I could learn to play other instruments as well. Then I, over time, learned to compose music and understand it, and be able to do things like this, where I can, you know, use MIDI and translate the notes from one format to another one. And so it's all about sticking at it. So if you look at something like this and you think, oh, I wish I could do that, well, the thing is you can. You just have to put a lot of time and effort into it. So if you're interested in Redstone or music, I'd just like to end by saying, you know, never give up. Try these things and don't give up, you know. Pick up an instrument and keep playing it until you get better. And the same thing goes for Redstone as well. So on that note, I want to end the video and say thank you for, you know, checking out the videos on Hermitcraft. There was a huge response to this, which is really nice to see, because you know, it just motivates me to do things like this over and over again. So, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you next time.